Hello students, welcome to the Pole Science of class 12 arts, and today we will start with the chapter United Nations and its organizations. So in the previous class we had read firstly about the League of Nations, then followed by establishment of the United Nations, and after that we read about the purposes of United Nations. So today we will start with the topic Principles of the United Nations. So let us proceed then. So regarding the principles of United Nations, the main principles of United Nations are as follows. So starting from number 1, it is based on the sovereign equality of all its members. That means the principles according to which the United Nations works actually is based upon what? It is based on the sovereign equality of all its members. That means equality is there between, or equality is followed between each and every member states under the United Nations. Clear? After that, all members are to fulfill in faith their charter obligations, and the number of members, for suppose say 193 members are there, they are to fulfill what? They are to fulfill in faith their charter obligation, whatever the faith and trust they have, so they should fulfill it regarding their charter obligations. Clear? UN Charter. Number 3 point is they are to settle their international disputes by peace. So we have discussed this point earlier also, that if conflict is between, or dispute is between the two countries and they are very much eager in bringing the war, so that should not be done by the countries, and instead of that what should be done according to the United Nations? If you are the member states under the United Nations, so whatever the disputes and conflicts you have to solve it by the peaceful means or through discussions. Clear? Now moving on to number 4, they are to refrain from the threat or use of force against other states. That means they have to, number 3 point was that the member countries cannot go for a war. In spite, they should make way for other options, that is through discussions and peace talks. They are to maintain the peace. And fourthly, they are also to refrain from the threat or use of force against other states. So they cannot give any kind of threat to the other countries that they are having conflict or disputes with, and they cannot use their forces also against the other countries. Clear? After that, they are to give the United Nations every assistance in every action it takes in accordance with the Charter. So whatever the UN Charter is about, so all the member countries and of the United Nations is to give what? Is to provide help and assistance in every action it takes in accordance with the Charter. So whatever the United Nations instructs them to do, or whatever the instructions the United Nations is following, so the member countries of the United Nations should also give what? Proper help and assistance. Clear? After that, nothing in the Charter is to authorize the United Nations to intervene in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any states. So last but not the least, regarding the principles of United Nations, what it is written, nothing in the Charter is to authorize the United Nations to intervene in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state. So whatever it is in the Charter or under the authorization of the United Nations, it cannot intervene, it cannot interfere in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any states. Clear? So the United Nations is the supreme. You cannot interfere also, and you cannot raise objections also regarding any decisions taken by the United Nations. Moving on to the next point, that is general information about the United Nations. Just a brief idea about the United Nations. So, first comes the UN headquarters. The permanent headquarters of the UN since 1952 is New York. The first meeting of the General Assembly was held here in October 1952. So, as you can see in the picture, this is the headquarter of, to the extreme right is the headquarter of the United Nations, and it is situated in New York. And since 1952, the permanent headquarters of the United Nations is situated in New York. And moreover, the first meeting of the General Assembly was also held in this very same headquarters in the year 1952 and in the month of October. That means October 1952. Now, moving about the next information about the United Nations is about their flag. So, the white UN emblem is superimposed on light blue background. As you can see, this is the flag of United Nations. So, what it is written that the white UN emblem is superimposed where? On the light blue background. As you can see, the color of the background is light blue. The emblem consists of the global map projected from the North Pole and embraced it in twin olive branches, symbol of peace. So as you can see, first of all, there is an emblem which is superimposed on the light blue background. Clear? After that, the emblem consists of the global map. Whatever you can see is in the middle is the global map projected from the North Pole and embraced in twin olive branches. From the side, you can see that there are two olive branches, one from the left hand side and one from the right hand side, covering the map. The UN flag is not to be subordinated to any other flag of the world. And one unique feature of UN flag is that it cannot be subordinated with or to any other flag in the world. So question might come in the board exam regarding the feature or the unique feature about the United Nations flag. So what you will write? You will write like this, that the white UN emblem is superimposed on the light blue background that is in the middle. The emblem consists of the global map projected from the North Pole and embraced it in the world. Global map is shown from the North Pole, and from two sides the twin olive branches are there, which reflects or which detects what? This twin olive branches is the symbol of peace. And one unique feature of UN flag is also that it cannot be or it is not to be subordinated to any other flag of the world. Clear? So moving on to the next topic or information about the United Nations is UN's official languages. What are the official languages of the United Nations? We should know this. There are 6 official working languages recognized by the United Nations. There are 6 official languages or official working languages. They are number 1 Chinese, number 2 English, number 3 French, number 4 Russian, number 5 Spanish, and number 6 Arabic. Clear? So regarding UN official language, there are 6 official language of the United Nations. These are namely Chinese, English, French, Russian, Spanish, and Arabic. Remember this. Moving on to next point, that is UN finances. That means related to economy or money. So contributions of member states constitute the main source of funds for the regular budget. So if we talk about the running of the United Nations, So the UN runs with the share or with the fund that is being given by all the member countries of the United Nations. So the primary source of finance is mainly through the member countries' contributions, that is under the United Nations. Clear? A state share is primarily determined by its total national income in relation to that of the member states. So we know that whatever the source of income for the United Nations is there, it is through the money that the member countries send. But how much money the member countries will send, that has also an eligibility criteria. Suppose if USA is sending a whopping amount of, just suppose that out of 100% it is sending 22%, or in the same case if India is sending 2%, so that is actually determined by the United Nations. And what is the eligibility to send that money? Actually, whatever the country is sending the money or fund to the United Nations, it is actually determined by the country's total national income. Clear? So some percentage is to be sent. Suppose assume that the total national income of India is 1 million. So in view of that, some fixed share is actually fixed for that particular country like India, like 1% or 2%, and out of 100% they need to send 1%. So like that only every country, every member countries that are sending the funds or money in the form of contributions to the UN, this is actually constituted by what, or determined by its total national income. Means total national income of a particular country is determined first, is calculated, then after that a fixed share is given to them, so that they instructs the particular country by viewing its total national income. After that only they send some share fixed by the United Nations. Like that a state share is primarily determined by its total national income. Try to remember this. After that comes membership. So membership of the United Nations is open to all peace-loving nations which accept the obligations of its charter and in the judgment of the organization are able and willing to carry out these obligations. Clear? So who can become a member in the United Nations? First criteria is that to become a member of the United Nations, a country should be peace-loving country. That means that country, particular country who wants to be a member of the United Nations should not indulge themselves in war or threat or any other means by which the particular country could hamper the peaceful environment. So that particular country who wants to take membership of the United Nations should be peace-loving nation, number one. Clear? After that it should oblige by its charter. That means whatever the UN charter is there, according to that they should follow. Suppose according to the UN charter 7 points are given that should be actually carried forward, or should that particular country should agree to obey all of its charter points. That is mandatory, number 2. And number 3 is in the judgment of organization, and whatever the UN will take decisions, that member countries or the countries willing to take membership should follow that. Clear? So first criteria to become a member is that it should be, that particular country should be a peace-loving nations or a country, and number 2, it should oblige by its charter, that is the UN charter, and number 3 is in the judgment of the organization are able and willing to carry out all these obligations. That means that a country who wishes to be a member should be able also and should always be willingful to carry out all the activities. Members may be suspended or expelled by the General Assembly on the recommendation of the Security Council. And suppose you assume that any country that has taken the membership of the UN, so you suppose assume that that country is the member of UN and suddenly their membership can be cancelled, and their membership can be cancelled by whom? Can be cancelled, suspended or expelled. They can be taken out of the United Nations by the General Assembly. Clear? This is the procedure actually, how the member nations of the United Nations can be suspended or expelled. Question might come. So members who already are under the United Nations can be suspended or expelled by the General Assembly. And the General Assembly suspends or expels these member nations on the recommendations of whom? The Security Council, the United Nations Security Council. And the reason is very much clear, that might be if a country is suspended from the membership of the UN, that means that that particular country is not following by whatever the criteria was there. Like, might be that country is not the peace loving nations, it is, suppose it is indulged in some kind of a war. Number two, it is not following the obligations of the UN Charter, or suppose it is not willing to carry out all these obligations. So when they actually, when that particular country, when that country does not follow all these rules and regulations, at that time their membership can be cancelled, suspended, or they can be expelled forever. And that is done by the General Assembly. But to the General Assembly, the UN Security Council actually forwards the recommendation. That you can say that the Security Council actually recommends that particular country should be expelled, and that is done through the General Assembly. Clear? So with this, we have come to the end of today's topic, and I hope that whatever the points that were taught today regarding principles of the United Nations, then followed by some general informations about the United Nations, and regarding UN official languages, UN finances, and regarding its membership, is very much clear to you. So with that, I will wind up today's topic. Thank you.